Hey everybody, this is Chris with OBSET, and today I'd like to talk about some of the things I noticed during the Call of Duty World League qualifying event during the first weekend of December. Please do keep in mind that these are professional players playing in an organized setting, so a lot of the decisions they were making won't be that applicable to your regular casual play, and will only be mildly applicable to your low-level arena play. With that in mind, I'd like to start with the ban and protects. If you didn't already know, Black Ops 3 has added a ban and protect phase to competitive play, where each player gets the opportunity to either ban or protect a single item from the match. This includes weapons, attachments, score streaks, specialist abilities, even perks. So you can take one thing and you can either ban it so that nobody gets to use it, or you can protect it to make sure your team gets to use it. Now, a couple of things weren't that surprising. The most banned item throughout the entire event was rapid fire. This doesn't surprise anybody, as rapid fire is extremely powerful and can turn certain weapons like the Pharaoh into beasts that nobody really wants to deal with. High caliber falls along the same lines. It was banned consistently throughout, and high caliber in the right player's hands, and all of these guys are the right player, is extremely powerful. So no one really wanted to deal with those headshots where they can just delete someone from the game easily. Also banned very often was the Vesper. This doesn't surprise anyone. The Vesper is fantastic at close range and is almost impossible to compete with. And in the couple of situations where I saw the Vesper make it through the ban and protect phase, it really did dominate all of the close quarter engagements. A little more surprising, though, was Shiva. The Shiva got banned very, very often. I don't recall ever even seeing it used in the situations where it did not get banned, yet it continued to get banned through all 3 days of this tournament. I can understand perhaps why someone would be afraid of the Shiva, particularly with high caliber, because, like I said, it can just delete a person from the match. But having never seen it used throughout the entire tournament, I'm still a little surprised that it got banned quite as often as it did, particularly in the later games. Also surprising to me was the focus on pistols. So throughout the tournament, I noticed LCAR-9 getting banned really consistently, and as a result, the RK-5 was getting protected consistently as well. I hadn't really put a lot of thought into the importance of pistols, but obviously these professional players really wanted to make sure they had their pistols there, and they used them pretty consistently. So I did find that to be a little surprising. Also a little surprising was Overdrive getting banned a lot. In retrospect, this makes an awful lot of sense, because in the game modes that they were playing, being Hardpoint, Search and Destroy, Uplink, and Capture the Flag, Overdrive can be really powerful, particularly in Search and Destroy, Uplink, and Capture the Flag. In regular play, I don't think Overdrive is usually all that powerful, but when you get into this organized play where a single player with Overdrive can really make a huge difference, it makes a little bit more sense, and I see now why they were banning it pretty consistently in those modes. Another thing that was a little surprising was Psychosis was getting a lot of use. Perhaps this was because there are a lot of specialists you're not going to use in this competitive play because there is team killing, there's a lot of team damage, so you're going to want to not use things like Gravity Spikes or the War Machine or anything explosive where you might accidentally kill your team. So that does make some of the abilities a little stronger, like Psychosis. But even after seeing a lot of people use it, I really didn't see most people getting an awful lot of use out of it. The same applies to active camo. We saw a couple of players using it quite a bit, and there was, throughout the whole tournament, maybe one or two plays where they really got a benefit out of it, and I can't help but think that they would have gotten a lot more benefit out of almost any other specialist ability. Not surprising were the guns that people were using. Of course, the M8A7 dominated the entire event. Almost every single assault rifler in the match was using an M8A7 if it were available. I do recall one particular match where both the M8A7 and the Shiva and the XR2 were banned, which actually made some really interesting gameplay. There were a lot of like Man of Wars with rapid fire and some weird things going on there. But for the most part, the only assault rifle we saw was the M8A7, and it was doing some crazy work. We also saw a lot of VMPs, because that Vesper wasn't available for most of the time. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the HCXD. So something I didn't expect was almost all of these players were using the HCXD. I've generally found that that score streak has been very underwhelming. It hasn't been very useful, rarely nets a kill, and it's easy to shoot down. I was really confused at first until I realized how they were using it. So these players, they weren't using the HCXD looking for kills. In fact, they would half the time not even try for them at all. Instead, they were using it to scout. Now, keep in mind, the UAV is not allowed in these tournaments at all. You don't see UAVs. They simply don't exist. So getting awareness of the map is really important. And that's what these players were using the HCXD for, both because it's a really low-cost score streak, so they can get it relatively easily, but also because it has that third-party vision, and then as it goes around the map, it'll actually highlight the other players. That'll let you see them really quickly. So what they do is they move up behind terrain and behind objects and use it to scout out an area and then let their teammates know if there were people there and where they were standing or that the area was clear and they could move in. And they were doing this consistently in almost every game mode, and it was really, really effective. And I was really kind of happy to see that because that's a strategy I hadn't really considered, and it was really, really useful, and I'll probably do something like that in the future. Now, like I said, there was an awful lot that went on. I hope you get the time to watch it yourself. But those are the things that stuck out to me. Again, this has been Chris with OpsHead, and I'll see you next time.